better do it now.
Never forget that no matter how powerful you become. I miss you, mate.
Hi everyone, Justin Crumley here with the Cujo Productions channel. Welcome to another edition of The Film Cave. Today we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day. This was the newest addition to the MCU. A very anticipated movie. I'm sure if you tried to get a seat this weekend to go see it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is the first Spider-Man film since Spider-Man No Way Home. And this one is directed not by John Watts, but this time by Destin Daniel Cretton. And it stars Tom Holland. This is a spoiler-free review, so if you have not seen Spider-Man Brand New Day, this is a safe video. If you guys want, I'll do a spoiler review. If I were to do that, ideally, I think I'd want to go back and watch the movie again. If you guys would like me to do a spoiler review for this movie, let me know in the comment section below. So, this film picks up after the events of Spider-Man No Way Home, where Doctor Strange casts a spell that made everyone forget that Spider-Man's true identity is Peter Parker. Peter has basically been given a clean slate and is living his life as Spider-Man, taking down villains, bank robbers, basically being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man that we all know and love. Then a new villain shows up with a pretty unique ability, which I won't get into past that because it is a spoiler. And Spider-Man is the only one who is able to stand up to this villain. While this is happening, Spider-Man's powers are also evolving, and he's having a hard time adjusting to the changes that are happening to him. This movie is already a huge hit. It broke Avengers Endgame's opening day box office record. Last time I checked, it's already made over $900 million at the box office worldwide. It's made $300 million domestically, over $300 million domestically alone. So very much a much needed W for the MCU, a much needed win for the MCU. And this one is definitely very decisive, both box office wise and critically. I enjoyed Fantastic Four, and I even really like the Thunderbolts. In fact, I actually own the Thunderbolts on Blu-ray as of right now. I don't currently have Fantastic Four First Steps on Blu-ray, but at some point I definitely do plan on picking it up. I enjoyed both of those films, but I do understand that a lot of people didn't. This film, while it may not, be the definitive, like, the MCU is back moment, it definitely is a step in the right direction, and it sets up a lot of cool pathways for the MCU going forward, which I'll kind of get into later in the review. This film isn't the best Spider-Man film I've seen. I still think that honor goes to Spider-Man 2, but it's definitely up there in the upper echelon. I would probably need some time to actually rank all my favorite Spider-Man movies, but I still think Spider-Man 2 would probably come in at number 1. That being said, this is still a really good entry in not just the MCU, but in the library of Spider-Man films that we have. It's a damn good Spider-Man film, and just a damn good film in general. The main theme of the entire story, and this is going to sound a bit weird, but again, if you've seen the film, I think you know what I'm talking about. The main theme is when Spidey wins, Peter loses. And it kind of tells a story of loneliness and not, going through things and going through them by yourself. And just how damaging that can be to you as a person. I mentioned that Peter is going through some like evolutions with his spider abilities, and I'm not going to get too deep into it because it is kind of a spoiler. But it's in the trailer. It's when his eyes turn all black and he starts getting ruthless. That aspect of his character really, I think, plays well into the theme of the movie. The fight sequences in this movie, the action scenes, were easily some of the best I've seen in a Spider-Man film. In fact, they might be the best. They might be the best. Even better than in Spider-Man 2, which featured a lot of awesome sequences. And as much as I dislike The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with a burning passion, actually, I honestly fucking hate that movie, but I always loved the web slinging. And I always thought Andrew Garfield was really good in that film, but the rest of everything around him was what just kind of sucked. But this film in particular, has some of the best action sequences and as well as like some of the best like web slinging and the best use of the webs. Like, I mean, like, I know this may be a little bit of a spoiler, but like, Spidey in this movie was like, he was using stuff like in the trailer where he's like going in a circle and he like just makes that huge web and traps all the bad guys in it that he's fighting, all the foot soldiers that he's fighting. Um, they are actually like part of the hand soldiers. I'm sorry, not the foot. I'm thinking of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Jesus. Um, uh, it the way that Spider-Man uses his webs in this film is easily a highlight in a lot of the action films, and it reminded me a lot of the PS4 Spider-Man game that came out in 2018, which was easily one of my favorite games to ever come out, and I actually think was probably the best depiction of Spider-Man that I think we've ever seen, and that includes like the movies. I think, you know, anything but the comic books because I don't really count the comic books in that case because that's what everything is an adaptation from. But as far as like movies, TV shows, and video games, I thought Spider Man 2018, and even to this day, probably is like the best Spider Man anything that we've gotten so far. Although I have not played part two yet, so I don't know about that one. There's one fight in particular that I do want to like briefly talk about, and it is in the trailer. Well, at least a little bit of it is in the trailer. Luckily, none of the best parts are, but it's when Banner loses control of the Hulk and turns back into the Savage Hulk that we remember, the out of control monster that Banner does not want to become. He's no longer Professor Hulk. In fact, he's a professor at a college now. As much as I personally, I don't, not everybody liked the Professor Hulk aspect in Avengers Endgame. I thought it was a lot of fun. I didn't watch She-Hulk, so I don't know if how good or bad it was in that. But I didn't mind it myself. That said, I do think it's a lot of fun to see like the Hulk come back, and it's fun to see like Banner not want to become the Hulk again. It's an interesting thing that the MCU can explore going forward now that they have the rights to the Hulk. But yeah, easily Spider-Man and the Hulk fighting. I've always wanted to see like a fight between the two of them on screen, and it didn't disappoint. Whenever I get around to going back to see it again, it's going to be one of the parts I'm really looking forward to. Um, Spider-Man and the Punisher, Frank Castle and Peter have a really fun dynamic. I've seen a few people point this out. They have like kind of a buddy cop dynamic in the film, and it's kind of interesting to see these two kind of pair up together because from the comics, the two could not be any different. Peter is a lot like Batman in that he has like a very strict no kill code, And the Punisher is just like, fuck it, I'll just waste any criminal I want because that's just who I am. I'm the Punisher. So really interesting dynamic between the two of them, and it's just a lot of fun. It's definitely a highlight of the film. John Bernthal, I think, just he is the Punisher. I wasn't super big on him in the Odyssey. I didn't think he did. I thought he was one of like the weaker parts of the Odyssey. I didn't really talk about him in my review of the Odyssey, but I did think that he was actually like one of the weaker parts of the film. But in this, as the Punisher, he just killed it. I think he absolutely kills it. He's so great at playing this character, and I want to see him play this character for years to come. I do want to say, without getting into the details of the plot, I know I keep saying that a lot, it's getting very redundant, but bear with me here. The way things get wrapped up with the villain, it was a little bit too neatly wrapped up, but knowing the MCU, I do think they are going to address it in either a future film or maybe a Disney Plus show. I definitely don't think that this one, this particular part of this character, rather, the villain, this character that is now a part of the MCU, I don't think like what happens with this character is going to go unaddressed. Another thing that I really didn't like, and this is just me personally as like a longtime Spider-Man fan. There's a particular villain that shows up in this movie, all but very briefly. It's not Scorpion, so he's in the trailer. It's not a spoiler to say that Scorpion's in this movie. This is not the villain I'm talking about. There's another villain that pops up, and it's so quick that you almost could be like blink and you'll miss it. And this particular villain, I would have liked to have seen as like a main villain in a future Spider-Man film or maybe a Disney Plus show for like Daredevil or something. I also mentioned that this movie sets up a lot of avenues for the MCU. As I mentioned, I like the way they end the story with the villain. I do think it's going to get addressed in a future MCU film. There's also, in the trailer, the device that the Hulk is wearing, well, that Banner's wearing to suppress the Hulk. Without like giving away a whole lot, I think there's a story with that the MCU is going to explore. I think the post-credit scene in this film, which there's no mid-credit scene, it's just a post-credit scene. I think that also opens up a lot of avenues for where the MCU is going to go. The whole thing with Bruce finally suppressing the Hulk again and becoming like separated from the Hulk and no longer being Professor Hulk. I think that's something that the MCU could look to explore down the road again. I think it did a way better job of setting up like a lot of future storylines than The Amazing Spider-Man 2 did, because literally like half of that film, or like let's face it, pretty much 85-90% of that film is just setting up other sequels. I think this one did it right. It told its own story, and it told it very well, with a really good theme that was the major focus of the plot. I think this is not only a win for the MCU, I think this is a win for Spider-Man fans, MCU fans. I think this is a win for cinema. And, just overall, like I said, I love this film. A much needed win for the MCU. Again, as I stated earlier in the review, I really enjoyed the Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four First Steps, but this movie right here does feel like the definitive first steps to Marvel, producing movies that are almost just unanimously across the board just loved. Going forward, it's good to know that we're going to keep getting more of these kind of films, because even though the MCU was kind of at a low point until this film, I was still excited to get more MCU projects. I watched the new season of Daredevil Born Again with my grandmother, and that was really awesome. I did watch Punisher: One Last Kill, and I thought that was really good. So I do think the MCU is starting to make a comeback. I'm really looking forward to Avengers Doomsday later this year. I think it's going to be awesome with the Russo brothers coming back to direct this film. The first trailer for it, not the teasers, but the first actual trailer for it, I thought was really good. I thought it was really awesome, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. If you're a fan of movies, cinema, the MCU, Spider-Man, you're a nerd, whatever the hell, I think you should go see this movie. I definitely think it's worth seeing in theaters. It's probably going to hit $1 billion before even a week in theaters. So that's really awesome. It's really cool to see my boy Spider-Man, maintaining his place as one of, if not the most popular superhero in the world. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. If you guys have seen Spider-Man Brand New Day, be sure to let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And until next time, I'm Justin Crumley, and this is Cujo Productions saying, stay awesome.